What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, and in today's video, we are going to be going over the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into Week 18, the last must-start kickers video on the 2022 fantasy football season. It is now 2023, ladies and gentlemen. New Year's, new me, guys, but we still got the same love for the kickers, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Catch fam. And we certainly do appreciate all the love and support you guys at the Catch fam have given us all year long in 2022. And we certainly hope you are here to give that love in 2023. And we look forward to giving you support and feedback on fantasy football advice, both through the rest of the season and for next year as well. We're doing a bunch of fun stuff over the off season as well. So make sure to stay tuned, guys. If you are not already a part of the Catch fam, certainly encourage you to hit that subscribe button, join the best community in all of fantasy football. And if you appreciate this video or any of the other videos we put out on a weekly basis, it means a ton to the channel if you hit that like button. But for the last time, make sure to get in those comments and let us know what your questions and concerns are at the kicker, defense, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end spot, so we can set your team up ahead of this weekend, guys. And let's get it. Let's get to it. The must-start kickers. Ooh, baby, it's cold outside. I need Brett Maher to give me a blanket and warm up, ladies and gentlemen. The #1 kicker on the season, 24% rostered. He is coming off of a beautiful month of December. 10 fantasy points this last week against the Tennessee Titans, and he had 18, 12, and 11 the 3 weeks prior, guys. He has been juicier than a pineapple on the Hawaiian beaches of the coast, baby. He's been fantastic. Look at this guy's perfection. He just hits every single kick he gets, guys. And the Dallas Cowboys offense is humming. There is a lot to play for this weekend, too, because, you know, the Eagles have kind of put themselves into a bad spot losing these past couple games. They've got to win against the Giants. I do expect the Eagles to get the job done against the Giants, especially because New York looks to be benching a lot of starters. But Dallas is going to show up. They're going to win that game too, right? Because they got San Francisco nipping at their heels as well, guys. Still got Minnesota looming. All that to be said is I expect this Dallas Cowboys offense to be relentless. I expect them to be explosive like they have been. I expect Tony Pollard to be back too. And I expect Brett Maher to be getting those field goal works he has all year. And he's got a juicy matchup against the Washington Commanders. Commanders are a really good matchup to go against for the kicker position. And I think this is going to be a good division game, a good rivalry game here, where the Cowboys are going to get the victory. They're going to come into Washington, and Brett Maher is going to be a big reason for it, guys. I trust him in your Week 18 matchups, guys. Brett Maher. Up next, Jason Myers for the Seattle Seahawks, guys. The #4 kicker on the season, guys, going up against the Rams. One of the juiciest matchups to go against for the kicker position. They are fantastic to stream against for sure. He had a great game against the New York Jets this last week. 4 attempts. He actually did miss one of those kicks, but you know what? He showed that his worth, right? And he still got the 10 fantasy points. He still looked good. He's looked good all year long. He has taken a little bit of a decline over the month of December, but I expect this Rams game to be a game where Jason Myers and the Seattle Seahawks come out and ball out, right? The Seattle Seahawks winning that game against the Jets still has these guys in the mix. Still think this offense is going to get a really good opportunity to go up against a weaker secondary, a weaker defense in the Rams. So I see this offense for the Seahawks moving a lot easier than they did against the Jets, which is going to increase the ceiling for our guy, Jason Myers. I truly do trust him in this Week 18 matchup, guys. He's been a beast all year long, and I trust him at the end of the season to come in strong. Robbie Gould, baby. I'm so happy. Right, 13% rostered, but he has finally cracked the top 10, and a large reason for that, these past couple weeks, guys, 13 fantasy points against the Las Vegas Raiders and the Washington Commanders. He's been absolutely essential, absolutely critical to the 49ers' success in getting those wins against two teams, which you would theoretically would think, oh, these are rollover games. The 49ers offense just going to steam through these guys. He's not even going to be needed, right? Well, that's not really the case. There's something going on in San Francisco right now where they are kind of letting some worse teams hang around a little bit like they just did with Jarrett Stidham and the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not saying they are going to let the Arizona Cardinals hang around. I expect their defense, the San Francisco defense, to crush the Arizona Cardinals for sure. I expect the 49ers to win in a big way for sure. But Robbie Gould is still going to be very necessary to them winning this game. They rely on the kicker position more than a lot of the teams out there. If they get the opportunity, they're not going to go for it like a Los Angeles Chargers team with Brandon Staley and Dicker. They are going to rely on their guy, Robbie Gould, because he's been so excellent throughout his career. And another big thing is that, you know, this is going to be a good weather game. This is against the Arizona Cardinals, which is a fantastic streaming matchup, guys. I've been targeting the Cardinals basically all season long, but especially as of late with the weather conditions that have come up more and more recently. So I really like this Arizona Cardinals play here, and I definitely think you can play Robbie Gould in your Week 18 matchup. Up next, we're talking about a kicker that is 2% rostered. I haven't mentioned him a ton, guys, on this channel, but he has definitely made a name for himself. That's Eddy PINEIRO for the Carolina Panthers. 7 fantasy points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I really thought he had a chance to have an even better game if they just got a couple of breaks that went for him and they were in control rather than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? But the 4 weeks before that, he had 14 fantasy points, 12, 13, and 12, guys. This dude is legit, man. He is the number 5 kicker on the season. He has definitely proven that he is not a jokester of a kicker. He can get it done. He hasn't been on this video a whole lot because you never know what to expect with the Carolina Panthers. And basically the whole first half of the season, he was kind of useless. But I tell you what, when the Carolina Panthers got Steve Wilks and Sam Darnold started to really show his chops, and this Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard thing started going, you know, PINEIRO was right there with them, and his momentum started to go up too. So I like this guy a lot. I think if you look at the stats on this guy, he has definitely shown his chops, and he has shown that he could play in this Week 18 matchup against the New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a dome game, right? I do like the Saints in this matchup a little bit more, but I think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to move the ball enough to get their guy PINEIRO in line for a lot of field goal attempts, and especially being in a dome-controlled environment, we don't have to worry about any weather, any sort of outside conditions. Just let the man go out there and do what he's been doing his whole life, and that's kick the ball through the uprights. Up next, we're talking about Cameron Dicker. I was just talking about his coach a little bit earlier in the video about how I don't like Brandon Staley that much. I don't like what he does with the kicking game. I don't like that he goes for 4th downs a lot, but I know there's a lot of love for Cameron Dicker out there, despite the fact that he's only 20% rostered. I get a lot of comments on Cameron Dicker. I know there's a lot of excitement about Dicker, the kicker, right? But listen, this Week 18 matchup against the Denver Broncos is one of the best matchups. The Broncos are a very good team to stream against at the kicker position. And I think that this Chargers team, right, they got the win against the Rams. They are in a position where they've already locked up the playoffs, right? I don't know if they're going to try to make Justin Herbert do any rollouts or do any extra plays on 4th down. They might just be trying to go in there and get the bare minimum of a win in this. And I think Dicker, the kicker, is going to be in line for a very similar game to the ones he's had over the past couple weeks with that 8-point fantasy baseline. Right? Dicker, the kicker, they go, is not a guy that is going to have a massive ceiling, right? So you need to temper your expectations with that, but he is a very safe kicker. I think that you're going to see, again, that 8-point to 10-point range, right? And if you believe in the Chargers this week against the Denver Broncos, like I do, to lock it up and to win in Week 18, I think he's a fair play for you for sure in your matchups. Up next, we're talking about the old wildly veteran who's coming off of 2 very strong performances, and he locked up a big 56-yard field goal against the Minnesota Vikings. We're talking about Mason Crosby, guy for the Green Bay Packers, in a very pivotal, hard, big-time game against the Detroit Lions, guys. Detroit Lions are actually not one of the better opponents to go against for the kicker position, but if you're looking at this game in the lens that I am, I'm seeing this Green Bay Packers team. They are starting to really arise in the season right now. They are really starting to gain a lot of momentum. Obviously, this is a win, and they have a really strong chance of making the playoffs, guys. This is a lot on the line. Right now, as of Tuesday morning, guys, the Packers are favored in this game against the Detroit Lions, which is why I chose Crosby over Badgley. But I think both kickers could have a pretty good game in this one, right? But bottom line is I think you're going to see a ton of points in this game. The Packers-Lions game, both offenses are really starting to hit right now. And Mason Crosby has been a big part of this Packers offensive success recently. Further than that, right, you got Crosby at 3% rostered right now. He is super available, so I think you should be able to get him in your respective leagues, and you can play him in a big time matchup with a high over under. My only concern is just watch out for any sort of weather. This was the reason he wasn't included last week's videos, is just because I was a week out and I didn't really want to speculate on the weather. But I know a lot of you guys asked me questions about what I thought about Crosby, especially going up against Minnesota. And I told you I loved him. I loved him as long as the weather was good. And I love Crosby again this week as long as the weather is good. I think he can come in, he can have a big game. He is showing kind of that postseason Crosby success that he has had in past years, where he looked very, very good, looked really elite and really clutch. And we're starting to see that. And that is why I think this Packers team could be a little dangerous heading into the playoffs with this defense, with a little bit of a feisty Aaron Rodgers and a clutch Mason Crosby. Last kicker I want to talk about here is for the Chicago Bears, CAIRO SANTOS going up against the Minnesota Vikings, guys. So again, if the weather is good, I think you can play him. If the weather is bad, you need to really bail out. There has not been much success for CAIRO SANTOS on this season outside of a few games, that being the New England Patriots, the Minnesota Vikings last time they played when he got 15 fantasy points, and the Houston Texans where he had 14 fantasy points. So he's got some big ceilings, definitely. But this game against the Minnesota Vikings, Vikings are, again, one of the best opponents to stream against, guys. I can't not tell you enough. You need to go and look at what kickers have been averaging against these guys over the past 6+ weeks, guys. They are just getting buried by the kicker position. And I think when you look at this game, the Bears are always going to be able to move the ball. This offense is electric with Justin Fields and the rest of the skill guys here. They just know how to get the ball down the field. They don't know how to win the game, but they do know how to put up some points, right? And I do think you're going to see a decent amount of points in this game already, somewhere in the 40s, right? So I think the baseline for CAIRO SANTOS is going to be there. And if he can take advantage of a very juicy matchup against one of the worst teams against kicker position and the Minnesota Vikings, we could see a high ceiling of that 14-15 fantasy point performance like he did last time he played the Vikings. With that said, guys, though, this has been the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into Week 18. Certainly hope you enjoy this video and all the other videos we have put out this weekend throughout the rest of the year, guys. If you did, really encourage you to hit that like button. It means a ton to the channel. But most importantly, really hope that you hit that subscribe button and join the best community in all of fantasy football so you can hang with us through the off season. We got a lot of great content for you. And then next season, baby, we're going to come back even stronger. And if you didn't win the championship this year, we're going to win the championship next year for sure. And if you won it this year, we'll get ready to come back for a repeat championship, baby. Because we here at The Catch are here for you and your fantasy success, guys. And we love getting to learn more about you and get to develop more and more relationships with everybody in the Catch fam, guys. Make sure to join the Discord as well, guys. And make sure to get in the comments and let us know any questions or concerns you are having at the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, or defense spot so we can set your team up ahead of this weekend. And also, if you're not even playing this week, just let me know what your favorite memory was from the 2022 fantasy football season, guys. But with all that said, this has been the must-start kickers, and you saw it here first at The Catch.